I am so excited because today sees the release of a film I feel I have been waiting for my entire life, and that is The Magic Faraway Tree. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I still have my original books. This story is so special to me. We will get into why as we get into today's project because it's going to be a big one, and I feel I need to do something momentous to celebrate. So I'm going to take on the biggest makeover art challenge that I have ever done. One momento. So the project we are going to do is we are going to alter this and turn it into the faraway tree. Now it's pretty close, but I think we can do something better. This is or was my daughter's. She had this from when she was about 2. I have to say that I have been eyeing it up since she was about 2, thinking that would make a lovely thing to alter. She's now 14. This is long gone. The days of playing with this are long gone, so now we can art with it. And I want to turn this into the faraway tree. It's a mammoth task and I have a limited time frame, so this could be fun. Let me show you some of the features and what I plan to do. Okay, so here's the tree. It looks really good as it is. There's a few things. I hate these flowers, so we will need to deal with these. I want it to also have a more realistic texture. I also would like to give it a cloud. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this, but I want to give it a cloud for the lands that we have in the top. So we're going to have to structure some sort of ladder. This part does have a hole right here, so we do have something to work with to try and attach a ladder to. It also has some features that are so perfect for the faraway tree. So this room here has a nice round room, which is perfect for Moonface. There we go. And also we have this little thing here, which is perfect for Dame Washalot. It actually goes down and up, so it'd be cool if we could kind of keep that. So I'm not completely sure how we're going to tackle all of this. Yeah, but let's have a go and see what we can create.
First things first, this needed a really good clean. This has been sat in our summer house for goodness knows how many years, and so goodness knows what sort of filth and grime was on it. So first of all, we gave it a good clean before we started crafting. Now, the first thing I wanted to do was to get rid of those flowers. Did not like those flowers at all, so I just covered it in tin foil. I also inadvertently covered a window there, which was a little bit unfortunate, but it's okay. It turns out okay at the end. I love how it turned out in the end, actually. It's absolutely epic, so please do stay tuned because I love it. So we covered those and then we pulled out some air dry clay. Now I have to say, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to air dry clay. I occasionally use paper clay. That I'm really comfortable with. This, I have no idea what I'm doing, and so anyone who's an expert is probably going to look at this and cringe and see all the things that I'm doing wrong. But I think if nothing else, I prove that if you want to, just have a play, have a go. You never know, it might turn out okay. And if you've enjoyed the process, then it's a success. So I'm covering most of this in clay and gradually trying to add little bits of texture. So why do I love the story of the folk and the faraway tree so much? Well, many years ago, we'll not go into exactly how many years ago, when I was in primary 2. So I'm trying to work out how old I would have been. Is that maybe like 6 or 7? Something like that. And they were just piloting the scheme of the book fairs. So that's when they came into schools, they had a whole load of books and they were sold at a reduced rate to encourage children to read. And I remember being very excited by this. And the whole gym hall at school was converted into this massive bookshop. Now, we didn't have a lot when we were growing up, but my gran and granddad happened to be visiting during that time period, and my granddad gave me, I don't know how much, but my granddad gave me a couple of pounds anyway to get myself a book. And the book that I bought was The Folk and the Faraway Tree by Enid Blyton. And then I came home and I read the whole thing in one night. That was the first time in my entire life I've ever read a book in one night. So it started the obsession with reading. After that, there became many more, and I had to learn ways of sneaking the fact that I was reading and not sleeping. I developed many skills. I tried the torch thing, got found out. My best one was what I used to do, was sit and read in the bathroom with the light on, and then when I heard my parents come up the stairs, I would flush the toilet, hide my book and pretend to look really sleepy as I walked back to my bedroom. But yeah, hence it started, you know, the reading obsession, and I read many, many books. So this story reminds me of my granddad, and this story has a connection to him. He was such a beautiful man, he really was. He was such a humble man, and he really had a lot of interest in us girls, and yeah, he was just the most lovely person. So it reminds me of him. He set me on this journey of reading and exploring and creativity, so I absolutely adore that book, and hence why I'm so excited about the film, and hence why I was inspired to do this. So you can see that I've put the clay on, and I've added lots of texture and graininess to sort of mimic the bits of the tree, the bark and things of the tree, which was what I wanted. I didn't want that sort of flat plasticky look that we had on the original toy. Now, one of the main aspects of the story of The Folk in the Faraway Tree is that there's this staircase at the top of the tree that goes to lands that come in the clouds, and some of the lands are good and exciting and fun, and some of the lands are a little bit scary, but that is one of the most whimsical parts of this story, and it makes it so much fun. So I really, really wanted to create this ladder. I had no idea. As I said, sculpting, I don't know. Now, I tried putting some wire together. This was the wrong strength of wire, as I will soon discover. You're just going to watch me epically fail here. So any sculptors, tips would be more than welcome. I do know, however, that I should have used stronger wire. Anyway, I tried it. The other thing as well is I needed it to be strong enough to support however I created the cloud. I had an idea of how I was going to do that, but I wasn't exactly sure. So anyway, I thought this might work because I could attach the wire through that hole in the tree. That seemed particularly handy and useful. And then I tried putting clay on it and making it a little bit stronger. I thought the clay would add strength. In my limited knowledge as a very novice sculptor, we ended up with this. So that was clearly a disaster and did not work. So at this point I pulled it all off in a rage, went up to the house, got a cup of tea, and decided to have a little think about what we could do. So I raided my daughter's mixed media box, I raided my mixed media box, and I found lollipop sticks, this bit of thing. I don't really know what any of this is, to be honest, but I somehow welded it together in what I thought looked somewhat like a spiral staircase. We're not going to look at it too closely because yes, you would need to have some sort of superhuman strength to go from one step to the next, but we are going for whimsy as opposed to accuracy, and this is what I came up with in the moment in desperation. So, I stupidly didn't take my microphone with me. Sorry. It is day 2 of trying to create my faraway tree. I have a very limited time frame because I'm going on holiday on Friday, because I have 3 days left. I am now sat early in the morning in the car waiting for Hobbycraft to open because I cannot find my hot glue sticks anywhere. I know I have a full packet of them, but can I find them? I'm getting a little bit worried because we have 3 days left. I also need to pack and do other things. I also need to finish the video and edit that ready for the other Friday that we're away. So things are getting pretty tight and I'm really hoping that I can do it. So just waiting for the shop to open, then we will pick up some hot glue. I'm also thinking I might get some more air dry clay because I'm going through that fast and it dries a lot slower. It dries so much slower. I went to check it this morning and there's patches of it that are dry, patches of it that are very broken, but I can live with that. We will be able to fix bits and pieces of that in a bit, and patches of it that still need to dry. So if I get all the clay work finished today and by some miracle it dries overnight and we can get onto the paint job on Wednesday, that would be amazing. But at the rate things are going, I can see me gessoing just before we leave, which gives me a huge amount to try and do when I come back. Oh, anyway, hopefully 1 minute till the shop opens. Yay, Hobbycraft is finally open, so we go in and I managed to procure myself some glue and I went for the big box. Boy, am I glad that I made that decision. A future self loved me for that one. Yeah, they had none of the Hobbycraft white clay, so I went for Das. It has 25% off, and I've seen professional clay artists use that, so definitely good. So yeah, I come and we are fixing this entire project with copious amounts of hot glue. I am randomly just sticking whatever this is into the top of the tree. It is a staircase. I keep assuring myself that it's a staircase, and at some point it's going to look okay. We are just trusting the process and blindly, it's so well stuck there anyway that it's going to have to stay whether I change my mind or not. We have to deal with all of these breakages and cracks, as I've established. Not a clay artist. I probably did something very wrong that caused all of those breakages. Not having the knowledge of how to deal with that, I just stuck it back together with glue. Hot glue. Hot glue definitely came to the rescue. Now, my original intention with this was just to have texture on the main trunk of the tree, but I like the texture so much that I decided that everywhere needed it. So we added a little bit more to the window, we added a little bit more to the little steps that go to the little stairway to heaven, or whatever we're calling this spiral abomination that's sticking out the tree. But look at the texture, it is so pretty. Now, I'm a girl that is used to a paper clay. Paper clay dries really fast. Shout out to paper clay, but it's a lot more expensive, so it wouldn't really have worked for this particular project. But this stuff takes a lot longer. So yeah, that was unfortunate and did affect my timings quite a bit. So I'm just laying the floor as a professional floor layer. I like texture on that too. Look how good that looks. Oh, I'm so happy with myself. Do you know, I find real joy and happiness doing this project. Now, I had to wait most of day 3 and unable to do anything because I was waiting for the clay to dry. But I had spray gesso, which is my secret weapon because it's quick and easy and it gets nooks and crannies.
I've run out of spray gesso. That is not good.
This development did actually have quite an impact on my time frame. Spray gesso is so quick and easy. It gets in all the nooks and crannies. You get a good base layer down and then you can sort of build up with more traditional gesso. Getting the traditional gesso down, it's a little bit more difficult to get into all the nooks and crannies. It definitely needs multiple layers until it's on a state where you can actually work with it. So this was a late night. I was having to keep going up and down to the studio to try and get as many layers of gesso as I could that particular night. As I said, I'd kind of waited till quite late in the evening to do this, so it was really kind of affecting my time frame, and it was a bit of a blow that I wasn't really expecting. In between waiting for the layers of gesso to dry, I did pull out my paper clay and started on creating some of the extra embellishment to decorate the tree once we got to that stage. So I made myself some cute little mushrooms, some leaves, and that was it really for that day.
Okay, so it's currently Thursday. We are heading tomorrow around about 9 o'clock. I probably have about 5 hours left. Not that I can solely work on this. I'm going out with a friend tonight. So I have 5 hours to get as far as I can with this and to try and finish packing. So we're finally gessoed. I have actually just spent the morning kind of running up to the house, packing a few bits, coming back down, doing another layer of gesso. I've been back and forth all morning. Anyway, the main parts I've had about 2 coats, and all the plastic parts I've maybe had about 3 coats. I have also made not as many as I would have liked, but we have some paper clay embellishments here, and what I've decided is that I've actually taken the rest of my paper clay and I'm going to take that on holiday and try and make a few more bits like this while I'm away. So we're about to start painting, so I have something to share with you. So I have bought myself some new acrylic paints. It has been a long time since I've bought acrylic paint. The last ones I got were Pebeo paints and they had the small tubes, and believe me, I'm really running out. Not enough to decorate this. So I've purchased this. Let's just open it and see what we have inside.
just to say, if you keep hearing a little tinkling in the background, the cat is determined that she is spending the morning with me, so she's making quite the racket. But believe me, the tinkling of the bell with her sat here is better than the scratching at the door. So I decided to go with Shuttle Art paints because any time I've bought Shuttle Art in the past, they're a budget brand, but they seem to work really well. I actually didn't buy the set I'd intended. I thought I'd purchased the vintage one, and the reason I wanted the vintage one was it had more choice of browns and greens, which would have been good for this particular project, but it was fine. It just meant we had to kind of, you know, mix our own, so a little bit of colour theory going on there. So I added sort of some purples there because I was trying to desaturate the brown, and actually sometimes I think mixing your own colours is better. I quite like the fact that it's maybe not a perfect mix every time because it helps to add variety of colour. I have to say that look how good that coverage is. I've bought cheap paints in the past. I bought some when I did my clock, and it took about 5 coats to get the colour remotely to what it was supposed to be. This is coat number 1. I am just so impressed. So here's me doing a bit of colour mixing. I want a slightly brighter green, but also desaturated. So I've gone with like a luminescent yellow to kind of improve the tone of the green, and then a little bit of orange to desaturate it slightly so that we get more of a kind of sap green. Can you hear the cat? Oh my goodness, honestly, Storm. And we are putting that over the tree.
Okay, so here is where we are at just now. I am absolutely loving how this is turning out. We've only had 1 coat so far of everything. This budget Shuttle Art paint is, you know, holding up really well. 1 coat and we've got really good coverage. I am really excited as to where this will go. It's already looking good. There's a few little white patches that need patched up, and then when we start dry brushing, we've also got a whole lot more nonsense to add to this, which I'm really looking forward to. It's going to make it. So I'm away now for 10 days. I will be back. I will see you guys in 10 days. Then we have 2 days to finish this project so that we can make our deadline so that it goes live on the channel the same day as the film is released. So it's going to be quite tight, but to be honest, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to get going with it because I think once we start dry brushing, all this texture is going to look amazing. Anyway, good night, and I will see you when I get back. Toodaloo! Hello. So we are just back from holiday. It is Sunday night. Sorry about the face, I've been travelling today. As you can see, it's dark outside. It is late, so I'm not going to be doing much today. Work is going to sort of continue mostly tomorrow, but for now I'm hoping to maybe just do 1 layer of dry brushing on the tree before I go to bed. So let's just do that now.
I have been thinking about doing this dry brushing the whole time that I was on holiday. I really wanted to go with a greyish tone, which might seem unusual, but I love it when you go into the forest. Actually, when you go into the forest and look at the trees, not many of the trunks are actually brown. They're all sorts of colours. They're like red hues and greys and greens, but like a standard brown doesn't really happen. So I kind of wanted to dry brush it with this like grey colour. In Scotland, you get a lot of lichen on the trees, and that's a sign of a really healthy tree, which is kind of what I was going for. So I did spend a lot of time kind of dry brushing this grey, then making it a brighter grey and a brighter grey to actually sort of increase the texture. I mean, look at the texture on that. It's just so lush. It's so good. Yeah, so we added a lot of that, but then once I kind of saw it there, I was like, it actually looks dead. So I tried to bring a little bit of life into it. I'd always imagined that these vines would be green, so I start to paint in that to see if that will help the trunk of the tree look any better. So I start putting that on all over the place. It was so nice watching this come together. It was really fun. So this is it now, and I've got the vines painted on and the dry brushing done, and I still think it sort of lacks luster. This is meant to be like a magical tree that is full of life and whimsy, and again I just think the colourings of it are quite dead looking. So once again we are going to go in with a slightly desaturated green. I actually was sensible and got my wet palette out and a fresh paint palette thing. because I kept using wrong palettes and then paint was drying up, and that's just silly. I've got a wet palette for this very purpose. So got that out, using it properly, create two sort of slightly desaturated greens, and I decided to sort of dry brush over the trunk of the tree with the greens again. So first of all, I'm going to brighten up those vines so they pop a little bit more, and then I am going to dry brush over the trunk of the tree with the brighter green. The fact that I did all the grey work, it wasn't wasted time. Sometimes you don't know until you try. I mean, look at that, it just looks far more lively once I started doing that. But the fact that the grey was down, it did actually make the yellows and the greens pop a little bit more, because it was sitting on top of a white hue rather than a brown hue, so it ended up making it more vibrant. So it was still kind of worth doing. Whilst I was waiting for that to dry, I then painted all of those paper clay embellishments that I made. I didn't actually manage to make more when I was on holiday. I did do a little bit of the editing of this video, which was good, but with regards to more paper clay embellishments, we have what we have. So again, I am painting this. It did make me laugh that I have green fingers because in the reality of life, I don't have green fingers. I kill plants quite rapidly. I've done well keeping my child alive for 14 years, but me and plants don't get on. But I just thought of the term green fingers and the fact that I've got all these leaves in front of me with green fingers. I promise you, my hands are not filthy. Look at that nail. It looks like there's a year's worth of dirt under there, but it's actually just paint. One of the side trials of this job is that I'm constantly covered in paint. So I decided I didn't really want my mushrooms red. I kind of went for a raspberry red, so it had a slightly more pinky tone to it. Also, because it was whimsical and magical, I wanted different colour mushrooms, so I also created some in a turquoise colour and some in a yellow colour too. And that was all of those ready to be done when we get to the nonsense part of this tree. Now, we still have to deal with that staircase and the cloud. So this is my solution to building a cloud: styrofoam balls. So I kind of thought it needed to be light. Whatever I created needed to be light, because I'm not sure how strong that structure was. So again, I have no idea what I'm doing or if it's going to work, but we use a butt ton of hot glue and these styrofoam balls, and I just sort of try to build a bit of a cloud shape and fill in the gaps as best I can. I think it was a genius idea, to be honest. I was very happy because from the beginning, sorry, that squeaks my chair. I was very happy with the idea, but I was like, oh yeah, what am I going to do? Actually, it was when I went to Hobbycraft to get the glue, I saw the styrofoam balls and thought, that might work. So I bought styrofoam balls. Look at that. Isn't that a pretty cloud? So impressed with myself. And we still had a few left over. So although I'd only intended to make one big cloud, seeing as we had some left over, I decided I may as well use them up. So I used them up and made two little diddy clouds. I wasn't sure at this point whether they would end up getting used or not. Do I give a spoiler or not? Anyway, I also then covered this in gesso, ready to paint the next day.
Hello, good morning. So we have a problem. It's now Wednesday. So this build was already going to be tight because I really desperately want it to go up the same day as the film is launched, which is Friday. It's also my normal posting day. And it was already tight. But the plan was that I would finish on Tuesday. That would give me Wednesday and Thursday to finish editing, because I have edited all the section that I filmed before I went on holiday. And it would go up on Friday. But it's now Wednesday. And we are not finished yet. So right now, this feels like mission impossible. I really don't know if we are going to get it done in time. I mean, this will go on the channel regardless, but whether we'll get it done by the actual deadline I have set myself, I really don't know. Currently everything's in bits. So today I'm just going to have to knuckle down and do my best to finish this thing. I have tea. Tea fixes everything. So we have tea, art supplies. Let's just get going, because quite frankly we don't have the time to waffle.
So I didn't want my clouds to be a stark white. When we had so much sort of texture and colour in the rest of it, this needed to sort of have that same sort of nuance. So I dry brushed it with a pale blue and put sort of darker blues in the crevices, again just to sort of create a little bit of a shadow. Now I've decided I want this tree to light up. The cloud. I want the cloud to light up. I have an obsession with clouds and we definitely need a light up one. So I needed to cut a little hole in it to stick, you know, the mechanism for turning the lights off and on, because we didn't want it visible, but I also needed to be able to reach it to turn it off and on. So I made it a complete mess and honestly covered myself in styrofoam just to be able to wedge that in. And I wrap it around the said cloud and then turn it on, and behold, we have a magical cloud. That made me so happy. I literally ran around the house and showed everyone in my house my light up cloud. But the light up elements do not end there, because we are also going to make glowing mushrooms. I discovered how to make these last year when I did my clock, and I'm obsessed, and I love the fact that you can make elements of a makeover project light up. It's just so much fun, and it really does add the wow factor. So I've got my string of lights, and I've almost twisted two bits together, and that's going to create the head and the stalk of the mushroom. So to create the head of the mushroom, we just get a big blob of hot glue. I know it doesn't look like it, but that is a circle. So we're creating a circle or close to. Nature is not perfect, and I was mimicking that clearly. And you just sort of let it settle, and it sort of smooths itself out on the top. Now, I was doing lots of mushrooms because I'm going completely overboard on this project, and so I needed 19 little mushroom heads. So here's me from various angles creating little glue dots for your entertainment. Once these are all settled, I decided this time I was going to give it a little twist and colour up the heads of my mushrooms. I've never done this before, and I decided that this was the perfect solution. However, I decided wrong. There was issues. So we get some gel medium and mix in some pigment powder, and I thought the gel medium adheres to everything, so it'll be absolutely fine on top of the glue thing. However, it did seem to resist it a little bit. It didn't play nice. So this was a little bit of a mission. I have to say, for the rest of the elements later on, I put gesso down first. So you then stick the head on top of the LED lights, and then you put more hot glue down the strand, and that will create the stalk of the mushroom. And so I just keep going with all of my little lights. This is such an easy technique. It really is so easy, and it just has such a great impact. And I'm obsessed. I'm pretty sure at some point this room will be full of glow up mushrooms like that. Look at that. It looks so good. Glowing mushrooms. Very happy. This, to be honest, I was working to such a tight deadline, but these bits of moments were making me very happy. Look at my messy craft room. That is the real state of things that I actually work in. This is not the most aesthetically pleasing video because I couldn't get my backdrops to look nice and allow you to see the project at the same time. So we, once again, use lots of hot glue, slather it on the stick, and stick the stick into the cloud, and therefore we now have light up cloud at top of Faraway Tree. Woohoo! We managed to get something to work, and look, I did use the little bitty clouds, so that was good too. I then also stuck the mushrooms down. I got all the light up elements in first because you have to find somewhere to hide the mechanism. Also, because they're wired, they will only stick into a certain place, so it's easier to add the nonsense around them once they're in place rather than add them after. And trying to fill the clouds, I added just a little bit of puffy paint to try and fill in some of the gaps. And then it occurred to me that I could have dangles from my clouds. I love drawing clouds with dangles, but we're going to do it in real life. So I hunted out some beads and some invisible thread, tied them together, and then glued them from my cloud. Oh my goodness, it has whimsical raindrops. I'm so happy. It just makes me so happy. Look how good that looks.
It's currently 2 p.m. This is the state of play. I've not even bothered putting my microphone on. We're that far behind time, I can't faff. Yeah, we have the main structure. The clouds has kind of worked. The staircase somewhat looks like a staircase. It was always a bit dodgy, but hopefully they've got that much distracting from it. It looks okay. All the light up elements are in. So we can now start, you know, faffing about a bit more and trying to bring it to life. I only really have about 3 hours. I've got a meeting this evening, so yeah,
I'm either going to be working on this really, really late. I really cannot push it till tomorrow unless it's like finishing touches, like getting the finishing shots. Oh, why is this so tight? Anyway, I do have a purchase, which I'm hoping will bring this to life quickly. Oh, it doesn't look much. This is fake moss, and I'm a bit concerned that when I open it, it's going to go everywhere. So we have fake moss. In trying to find the beads to dangle from the tree, I'm so glad that my cloud has dangles. In trying to look for that, I also found a whole load of stuff that I forgot I had, like paper flowers, little cherry thing, lots of different stuff that I've had for doing mixed media in the past, and actually it would be perfect because I didn't think I'd made enough. So that's one pressure off. So let's see if we can crack on for the next few hours and get it like 98% done. That would be good. So fake moss isn't something that I've ever really worked for before, and it was vacuum packed, so I was so expecting this to explode everywhere. But actually, I mean, the stuff that I pulled out and went on my desk did actually go everywhere, but the rest of it that stayed in the bag, that was fine. And actually, it goes a really long way. You just sort of puff it up. This was so much fun. Now, I tried not to go overboard with this moss, but I was having so much fun with it that I think I may have gone overboard. At first I started off quite constrained. I was doing little clumps and I was trimming it so it looked all nice and neat. And then some bits sort of accidentally fell and dangled, and then I thought, oh, that looks so alive. There's a forest near where we live called Releg Forest, and honestly, even if you don't believe in fairies, you would believe that they lived in that forest. It's such an alive forest. I'm going to go there sometime and do some artwork. I mean, I do artwork from there anyway, but it's such a gorgeous forest, and it reminded me of that. And that's always got lots of moss and things dangling from the trees. And the Faraway Tree is in the very heart of the forest, and it has dark leaves that are darker than the rest of it, and it's very alive, and there's so much life and activity going on it that I really wanted to represent that. You can just see me sort of really having a lovely time covering myself in moss. Also, I ended up covering the entire thing in this stuff. I was never particularly happy with how the actual head of the tree part went, and I wasn't sure how to sculpt it with clay to make it look any better. Covering it in moss proved to be the perfect solution. So now we're just adding more nonsense and more frappery. I sort of end up adding my little mushrooms, and then anything that sort of sat a little bit funny, just got an extra wee bit of moss to hide the joins, and that worked tremendously. So I just kept going with this, and honestly, at this point it was hard to know when to stop because I was just having so much fun adding all of this stuff. This was the part I really enjoyed. It was so much fun. And it also came together really quickly. At this point when you were adding all the nonsense, it just came together really quickly, and as soon as the moss went down, it looked so much better as a whole project. And then I sort of didn't make enough mushrooms as I'd expected, but some of these extra bits that I had found in my craft stash just proved to be perfect. And I added the same colours. I sort of stuck with this raspberry and teal for the main colours. Then I want to give, this is the next day, you can see my outfit's changed. Also, I've just come out of the shower, so my hair is tied back. So this is actually Thursday morning. And at this point in the day, I was literally coming down here, doing little bits, and then running back up to the house and editing what I had. So I added a glitter place into the clouds to try and make it sparkle, make it alive a bit more, and fill some of the gaps. I used my gold pen to add detail to the actual doors. And then because I'd added the glitter paste, I was like, this is a fairy tree. It should sparkle. So I've discovered that most of my glitter pastes are dry. This one was not. I have to say I had my heart in my mouth at this point because I'm seeing that white, and my test and my swatching and my book, that was clear. But I was like, it's quite old, so I hope it's going to be okay. Turns out fine. So that had a sparkle. And it really, really, really wanted to portray Dame Washalot's water coming down the tree. So I wasn't sure how I was going to do this. In the past, when I've seen people sort of do it, they've done it with resin, and I don't really have that. Also don't know what I'm doing. So I decided to create it using layers of strips of glue from the glue gun. And obviously water's clear, but it had a milky tone to it. and that wouldn't really work. I still wanted it to look magical. So I painted it with a little bit of blue and white, added some sparkle paste on it, and that was the final element. And here we go. Here it is in all its glory. I am so happy with how this looks. Look at the before and after. It looks so good. So I'll let you enjoy a couple of close-up shots, and then I will be back to chat with you to see what you think.
Thank you so much for joining me. This has been a mammoth task, but I love the results. It is so good. I love the fact we have dangles. I love the fact it lights up. I particularly love this kind of water, Dame washed lots of water. It is missing the characters, I think. So yeah, if you would like to see me make the characters, we need a Silky and a Moonface and a Dame Wash a Lot and a Saucepan Man. They need to go in there. If you would like to see that, let me know. We can make another video. If not, I'll just make them for myself and stick them in. But I love this. There's a whole load of memories tied up in this. My childhood memories. Obviously, this was my daughter's toy. It's going to be something very precious and sit pride of place in my studio. And I think we've made the deadline. It's definitely going to go up today. Whether it's my normal posting time, I don't know. But whenever you watch this, I hope you enjoyed it. If you do enjoy a thrift store makeovers, I do have another couple on my channel. If, like me, you're also obsessed by the story of the folk in the Faraway Tree, I have other stuff inspired by that too. So I hope you maybe enjoy watching those if you've not seen them before. And I will see you guys again next Friday. Take care.